So today we are going to meditate a different incident. So before we begin the message and go into the message, so when we travel to some place and find no one around us, so when you are going for a picnic or for any excursion or any kind of travel tour, anything, and you find no one around you in bus or in train or in ship or in aeroplane, whatever medium that you travel through, so how will you feel? How will you find yourself, or how does it feel when you travel alone to places where nobody else is there, where you cannot even find a single person there? How does it feel? Please speak. So can you understand what I am speaking? You're going to a place to enjoy or to some place, and you find no one around you. So how does it feel? So you feel very depressed, very lonely, very frightened. So you are all alone in your travel and no one is with you, and no family is with you, and none of your friends are with you, and none of your relatives are with you, and it feels lonely, empty, fearful and dangerous because there is no support from any side. So we feel all these loneliness and become tired eventually. So we become very tired by looking, so there is no company for me, so there is no one to get accompanied with. So you feel very tired in those places. Though that places might seem a beautiful or enjoyable thing, you feel no one and you feel emptiness in your heart. So it doesn't matter who joins your journey, so no matter who accompanies you, doesn't matter who comes along with your path, your travel, your journey. So we have a great company. How many of you believe that? Though you may not have any great support or any travel partner with you, so we have a great company and we have a great power who joins us in our journey. And it is not as something going from one place to another, that kind of journey, but life journey. So that is God, He is the only company for us. And you will slowly realize this very soon in your life. So not just for a season, God travels with us, He journeys with us. So not just for a particular period of time, God travels along with His people, or travels along with us. Not just once in a lifetime, God travels with us in our journey, but God comes with us. He travels with us throughout a lifetime. How many of you believe that? Throughout a lifetime, God journeys with us. He travels along with us. So it is not a one-time incident that God travels with us, but till the last breath of our life, He travels through many obstacles and through many periods and through many times and testings and trials. Even though we face all them, God never forsakes us, or He never misses to travel along with us. So till the very end, He joins the journey. So today we will look at one good incident from the Bible, and mainly from the book of Exodus. So from the book of Exodus we will look an event that speaks about the traveling and the journey and the company of God and etc. So God did a great miracle in the journey of His people. So we will look at what happened exactly, and before that, remember, no one will be able to accompany you throughout your lifetime. So you may have any some friends, so, you may put your belief in several people that these people will be traveling along with us in all the parts of our lives. But remember one thing, that no one will ever be able to accompany you throughout your lifetime. they will be joining us in several stations, and when they get down, and when they reach their station, they will get down and they will travel in their path. So never ever think that your parents, your friends, your well-wishers, your best friends, and all the people whom you believe that they would really travel along with you, so throughout your journey, but always remember one thing, that they will never travel along with you throughout your lifetime. But always remember, God can lead you and be with you throughout your journey. So God's leading of His people will have a great outcome, and God's leading is till we reach the destiny, till we reach the place where God has destined for us, where God has prepared a place for us. Till there, God will lead us and comes along with us. So let us turn our Bibles to Exodus chapter 40, verse 36 and 37. Exodus chapter 40, verse 36 and 37. In all the travels of the Israelites, whenever the cloud lifted from above the tabernacle, they would set out. But if the cloud did not lift, they did not set out until the day it lifted. So these two verses are the one which we are going to meditate. And you see, verse 36, it says, in all the travels of the Israelites, whenever the cloud lifted from above the tabernacle, they would set out. This started in the land of Egypt. So the travel and the Israelites and the other background we see, all these traveling and the journey of the Israelites started in the land of Egypt. Why? It is because we see in the Bible how much worse the people of Israelites suffered in the land of Egypt. So due to a punishment, God sent the people of Israelites, people of Israel, into the land of Egypt as slaves. They became slaves in the land of Egypt, and they suffered a lot because more burden were upon the people of Israel, and they did not get a chance to come out of the land of Egypt. And we also look all the miracles of God, and we see these suffering Israelites in the land of Egypt were rescued by a prophet, Moses and Aaron, the priest. So God sent Moses, his servant, to this Egypt because to rescue the suffering Israelites out of the land of Egypt. So he redeemed his people by sending 10 plagues in the land of Egypt, and that destroyed all the Egyptians. So God miraculously redeemed his people from the hands of Pharaoh, hands of all the Egyptians. So we also see that these Israelites came out of the land of Egypt with a mighty hand that led them. So we see after the 10 plagues that hit the land of Egypt, God brought the people of Israel out of the land of slavery. So the travel of Israelites were not in the smooth plain places, but in the deserts. So after coming out from the land of Egypt, they faced desert area, dry lands, water places, rivers, and the Red Sea. So through all these channels and mediums and lands, the people of Israelites journeyed and took their journey in all these routes. So God had promised to his servant Moses that he will bring his people out from the land of Egypt, and not just bringing them out, but also to help them to get into the land that God has promised, in the land of Canaan. So God promised Moses that I will take these people through you and lead them to the land flowing with milk and honey. So that was God's promise to his people, and in such a tough journey through all these wilderness and all the experiences of the Israelites, God traveled not away from his people, but with his people, the people of Israelites. So God did not just brought the people of Israel and left them on some places and went to some other place, but he took them out of the land of Egypt, as well as he led the people of Israel till the very end, till they reached the Canaan, the land of Canaan. So he did not travel far away from his people. He was with his people and traveled along with his people, the people of Israelites. So God traveled with his people in a cloud. So the verse tells us that he, the God of Israel, traveled in a cloud, so in a pillar of cloud. So the pillar of cloud led the people of God in their journey. So there is a reason why God was traveling along with his people in the pillar of cloud. There is a reason for that. So there is one condition for the people of Israel. So whenever the cloud stops in a place, the Israelites have to stop and pitch their tents. So whenever God moves and the cloud of God moves, people have to move. And whenever the cloud stops in a place, certain place, these Israelites, the tribes of the Israel, these people have to have patience, and they have to stop. So, and they can pitch their tents and do whatever they wish, eating or having rest and taking rest and praying, anything. So, and whenever the cloud starts from that place, so whenever the cloud lifts up and starts from there, so whenever the cloud moves, the people of Israel should also move along with them, along with the cloud, and follow the cloud of God, the pillar of God, the pillar of cloud. So this is the condition. Whenever it stops, people have to stop, and whenever the cloud passes before them, they need to pitch out the tents and carry them and follow the cloud. And we also see, whenever the cloud lifted from above the tabernacle, they would set out. As I have told just before, whenever the cloud lifted from above the place, from above the tabernacle, the Israelites set out to journey. They need to journey. So their journey was always based on the lifting up of the cloud and rising down of the cloud. So their journey was fixed by this cloud, rising and moving of the cloud. So it was all based on the cloud. So the people of Israel never had any compass with them. So we have this north, south, and east and west, the compass. How many of you have used? We have a chance in science, in the physics, I believe, that to have a compass and you have experiment. So there were no compass in the hands of any Israelites. So they neither had compass, nor did they have any GPS tracking device with them to show, to find their way, or to show the other people that where they are traveling through. So no one to lead them in that wilderness. So they were in the kind of no one to lead, and there is nothing else to lead them. So they were in such a situation. And let us read verse 37. It says, "But if the cloud did not lift, they did not set out until the day it lifted." Sometimes the cloud stops in a place. So in that situation, no one is supposed to set out. So not even a single person can do that. So they have to stay until the day the cloud lifts up. So for many days and for many months, the cloud was in one place, in one particular place, So for many months and days it was. So the people of Israel must wait patiently until the cloud moves. So they cannot move their tent, or they cannot take up their or the things, the materials that they have, the cattle that they have, the children that they have, and they cannot move according to their own wish. They have to have patience, and they need to obey the cloud, the signal. So the cloud was their signal. So we can see that the cloud of the Lord was like a pillar of cloud in the day and pillar of fire by night. So for today's meditation, we will look at one part of God's glory, the pillar of cloud. So we will meditate today on the cloud of God and its wonders. So what all the cloud of God did to the people of Israel, and how did the people of Israel were led by this cloud of God, the pillar of cloud. So we may think, why God traveled with his people in a cloud? So what was the reason for God traveling along with his people in a cloud? The cloud is not some kind of a hard material. So it is very soft, and it does not weigh much. It does not weigh greater. It's a very simple one. But why God chose to travel through this cloud? So there was some reason why God traveled in a cloud. So why a cloud covered the people of Israel is that, of course, God led the people of Israel and was in the cloud. But behind the concept of the cloud, we have a majestic reason behind it. So God traveling in a cloud and helping his people. So it is because there is some reason behind it. So the first reason, I'll tell you that we need to understand the climatic condition of the desert. So the desert climate is heat. Yes. The climatic condition of the desert is heat, and not just heat, it's a overheat. And also it has the desert, that region has highest degree. So the temperature is increased in an n number of things. So the sunlight directly hits a person. So it's kind of unbearable heat. The air that is present all over the desert, the wind, when it blows, people feel a very hot air. So people will be having an unbearable air, unbearable wind in that place, a desert place. So another thing is that when you and I travel through the desert place, so blood comes out of our mouth, comes out of our nose. Have you ever know this fact? Blood comes out of a nostril and from mouth, and skin burns will happen, cracks will happen in our hands, and not just that, in our lips and in our legs, feet, fingers and skin. These breakdowns of skin and the blood flows out of all these parts. I have experience, not in a desert, but in a summer season. Once I was doing something, it was lack of water in my body, as well as a great number of sunlight that hit my head, and this lip started to crack down. So it started to dry up and blood just came. So imagine walking in a desert, in a wilderness, and having these kinds of experience. How worse it will be. So body gets overheated, the blood pressure gets very much lower, and energy becomes very down in this climatic condition in the wilderness place. So example, just think of yourself going and enjoying yourself, playing something, or going to your friend's home and going out to any mall or any beach. Let's take going out in a daylight, in a summer season to Marina Beach, how does it feel? Not in the evening time or morning time, going afternoon, how does it feel? So we cannot step in the sand, we cannot step in the shore, and we cannot go from this place to another end. So how much worse we feel and how much irritated we feel when we go to all these kinds of places. So when we think of how worse the situation in the summer season that we have experienced, think of how worse the situation and the place will be in the wilderness. So think of how worse the climatic condition and the weather and the overheat were while the people of Israel travel to the wilderness. So it is unimaginable one. So in these condition, climatic condition itself, small kids, they play outside, right? So they get blood from their nostril because of the overheat of the body. So just think of how worse the situation was in the wilderness. So we watch television. So we watch Discovery channels. How many of you watch that? Discovery Channel, National Geography, any kind of channel. So how many of you have closely watched and seen this desert and all the other places in the television? So while we watch from our home and we watch all these channels, what we feel is that, oh, desert is kind of a little hot place, and we get some oasis in between some place. We have palm trees and dates and other kind of resting place there. But actually, when we go to that place exactly, we don't find this oasis and these palm trees everywhere. So out of 100 of places, only 1 or 2 places will have all these good plants and waters. So all the 99% of the land of the desert is not suitable for living. So it's worse condition. So what we think is that, so we will one day travel to this desert and we will enjoy, because the videographers show those kinds of good pictures on the television. So we assume that deserts will be kind of a little heat place and we will enjoy there and come back soon. So that's not the true case there. So today we will look at why God traveled in a cloud, and we will see what happens when the cloud covers God's people and why the cloud moved and set out from one place to another. So there are 3 important things in today's meditation that we are about to look at. And God travels with his people in the cloud because, so there are 3 reasons. So why God traveled with the people of Israel in the cloud was because, number 1, to show them the right direction. To show them the right direction. So the first reason is to show the people the right direction, because the Israelites were in the land of Egypt for almost 430 years. 430 years, for approximately 430 years they were in the land of Egypt. They were in the land of slavery. They were in the hands of Pharaoh and his servants. So they were held by these kinds of people, and no one knew the right direction. So imagine yourself staying in a particular place for a very long time, for many years, for 40 years, and coming out of that place and returning home. How does it feel? You have guesses, but you do not travel exactly to the same direction, because all these 40 years that you have stayed in a new place, you would probably forget all the old things. So not just 40 years these people were, but for 430 years almost, up to many generations were in that land of Egypt as slaves, and nobody knew the right direction, where to go and how to reach a certain place, nothing. So all they knew was to work inside Egypt as slaves. So all the people of Israel experienced was slavery, the forceful labor, So all they knew was that to work hard for the Egyptians. All they knew was just inside of Egypt, places inside of Egypt. So, but not outside of Egypt. They did not have any idea of what the land around their place looks like or is like. So no Israelite had the opportunity to visit any nearby places, nearby country, like tour or like a picnic. So descendant after descendant, these Israelites were forced to do labor for the expansion and the growth of Egyptians. So all the generations knew one thing, that is to submit and to obey the commandments of the Egyptians, the task makers. So they did not visit any place other than what they were and where they were placed, and they did not have any experience of traveling from one place to another like a tour. They stayed at the single area for almost many centuries, for 400 years, almost 430 years. So these Israelites were helpless in direction. So they did not know where to go, so which route to take, so how to escape from this land. They were clueless about it. And of course Moses knew that God will bring the people of Israel to a good land, but he too had no idea about what was ahead of him and all the people. Maybe the people of Israel and Moses and Aaron, they would have had a guesses. So when we take this route, we may probably end up in this area. So they had guesses, but they do not really had any understanding of what was ahead of them, what was before them, and what dangers were there before those people. The people did not understand or know that, or Moses also did not know what dangers were ahead of them. So God, in such a situation, traveled along with his people in a cloud. So the first reason was to show the people of Israel the right direction. So the cloud was to direct the people of Israel in the right paths, in the right direction. So God alone knew what were the dangers that were ahead of them, what were the obstacles that were ahead of them. So the obstacles that were before the people of Israel, only God alone knew everything. So God's aim and purpose was to lead them within 40 days. So God's ultimate purpose and aim was to lead his people from Egypt to the land of Canaan in just 40 days. But what happened in between was that due to the rebellious nature of the people, God increased the days and the years and the months of the traveling. So instead of going and reaching there in 40 days, so due to the rebellious nature of the people, even though the people troubled God and did all kinds of things against God, God was gracious enough, but he increased the years. Instead of 40 days, God increased into 40 years. So though the people troubled God, but God was gracious and led them in the right direction. So God did not get angry. Of course he got angry, but he did not go to the extreme and leave the people of Israel in the wilderness, in the desert, and just go and look after other people. Though they were rebellious, though they did not obey God's word sometimes, most of the times, but God was very lovable and gracious and did not show them the wrong direction. So you people go in that direction and just worry and just get into some kind of trouble. But God was very, very patient with them, handling them in the right direction. So even in such a situation, God's way of directing his people was in the right path. So whenever the cloud of God lifted up, it just just went before them. So it was going in the right direction. The cloud of God went and showed the people of Israelites the right direction, leading God's people in the wilderness journey. So we see how beautiful God's love was to the people of Israel, and how great his leading was through the pillar of cloud. So he was very gracious enough to tolerate all the people who were accompanied in the journey of the wilderness. So he tolerated every people, as well as he led them in the right paths. That is the first reason. The second reason why God traveled with his people in the pillar of cloud, and what did the cloud do to the people, was that reason number 2. What was the first one? What was the first reason why the cloud led the people? To show them the right direction. Secondly, to protect them from all dangers. To protect them from all dangers. So protection from all dangers means that from all kind of heat, all kind of weather condition, all kind of heat strokes, cracks and burns, and from direct sunlight, from natural effect due to the extreme heat of the sun. So God's cloud was upon the people of Israel, not just idle, but for protecting his children. So like a hen spreading its wings to protect its little ones, the chicks. So how much safe and secure that little chicks will feel. So how much comfortable and protected they will be when the mother hen spreads out its wings and guards them. So as like the hen, so the God of Israel did the same thing to his children. So God spread the cloud almost to all the people, to every people, each and every people. So under the cloud, these people were there. Above them, when they looked up above, they saw a very strong, a great large number of clouds there, like a pillar of cloud, very large number of clouds protecting them from all kinds of dangers. So God, just imagine this, God just spreading out his wings, spreading out his cloud, and just gathering his people under his wings, under his clouds, and protecting them in that wilderness journey. So we see how God loved his people. So even though in the wilderness journey, he never failed to protect them. So his protection was not for a single time. So he did not tell those people that, see, all the 10 plagues, I protected you and harmed the Egyptians. So now it is enough that I protected you. You take some other protection. So you yourself protect yourself. He did not tell that. God himself protected his children, the people of Israel, through his cloud. So this is how God did to his people. And we also read a verse in the Bible that under the shadow of God's wing, we take refuge. So only under his wings we take refuge, which means under his wings we find protection from all kinds of dangers. So no human can do this, right? No human can give protection to such a large crowd. So even if it is to send so many countries' soldiers to protect these lakhs and thousands of people, it won't be sufficient for all of them. Only God has the ability to protect his children, no matter how many hundreds or thousands or lakhs and crores and millions and trillions they are. He is gracious enough to protect them throughout their lifetime. So a large, unimaginable thing happened in the journey. So to protect thousands and lakhs of people and cattle, Not just the people of Israel came out of the land of Egypt, but also their cattle, the belonging, their sheep, the cows, and maybe donkeys, anything that they had, giving protection to his people as well as protection to their cattle, to their little ones, to each and everything that they had. To see how God minutely sees and takes care of his people. So it is an impossible and unimaginable thing for a person to accommodate all these kinds of people in a place and protecting them. Only God has the ability to do that. So see how God did that through his cloud. So that is God. So reason number 3 is that why God traveled with his people in the pillar of cloud, and what did the cloud do to the people was that, reason 3, to give them good rest. To give them good rest. Not just some rest, some kind of rest. So you people just take some rest and just go and do your work. No, but it was a good rest. So just think, working throughout the day and having 1 hour of sleep, and just again waking up and working the same work. How does it feel? It feels very uncomfortable. It feels very restless, and people cannot do that continuously. Okay, so people of Israel not just took some kind of rest, they had a very good rest in their life. So that cloud gave shadow to the people of Israel and gave them complete rest and refreshment throughout the journey. Not just rest, but refreshment. So throughout the journey, though they were walking, though they pitched out their tents and were moving from one place to another, they had good rest. So even in the walking, they had good rest. Even when they stayed in a place, they had good rest. So all the time, the cloud was with them. All the time, the cloud that led them. So all in such period, they had very good rest. So you see how God gives protection to his people and how God directs his people, and we also see how God gives rest to his people, to rest from all their hard labor. Because the people of Israel, what they were doing in the land of Egypt was, they did not have any rest unless they finished a task. The task makers would give them another burden. It's a kind of a yoke. A huge yoke was upon their shoulders, and a huge burden was on their heads. And so they did not have any good rest or any rest at all. So continuously from morning till evening, they have to work in the place of wherever they were assigned. Here in the wilderness, though they did not have any houses, did not have any strong place to dwell, they had very good rest. So 3 things that we meditated in today's meditation. What is that? Number 1, showing right direction. So what was the cloud doing? The cloud of God doing? Number 1, showing right direction to the people of Israel. The cloud protected from all dangers, and finally giving rest to the people of Israel. So showing right direction, protecting from dangers, and giving them rest. And the title of today's message is Follow the Cloud. So whenever the cloud rises up, just follow. You also rise to your feet or rise and just follow the cloud. And whenever the cloud stops in a place, just don't hurry up or rush up to move further. Stop there, and God will. And when we do all these things, these 2 things, when we obey and just pitch in and pitch out the tent, whenever the cloud stops and starts, so God will show us right direction in our life. So he will protect us from all dangers as he had protected the people of Israel. And whenever we obey the word of God, and whenever we stop and start a journey according to the will of God, according to the cloud of God, he gives us good rest. So always remember that For God's people, He has never failed to do any good. So everything, in each and every situation, God has done miraculous work, wonderful work, and good works to His people. So always remember this. Follow the cloud of God. Follow God. Because when God sends the cloud in our life, it protects us, it directs us, it gives us rest. So let us hold on to the leading of God, and may God travel along with us throughout the end. And let us look to the Lord in prayer.